Anyway, back to the bush, because I went over there for a week in Warriolda. And Crusher has been quoted numerous times in the papers saying that he thinks rugby league in the country is dying and really struggling. He was quoted a couple of years ago saying he's been over 50 years involved with the game and he's never seen it in poorer shape. The CEO of the New South Wales Rugby League, Dave Trodden, told the Sydney Morning Herald in August 2023 about the clubs that were folding and forfeiting and AFL running riot out there and how clubs in regional New South Wales are getting flooded with too much paperwork and we're losing kids from 13 to 18. Parents having to travel ridiculous kilometres to play, all that kind of thing. And I think to put this into some kind of context, some past players that have come from the bush include you, Steve Mortimer's, Peter Sterling's, Laurie Daly's, Jamie Lyon, the Cleo brothers, Darren Lockyer, Joey Johns, and so many more. Current players include Isaiah Yeo, Matt Burton, Cameron Munster, Ben Hunt, and several more. I was out there last week, and luckily for Warriolda, the numbers seem all right. I mean, of course, the coaches don't get that much support, really, compared to other places. And they don't have what we have in the city where we mingle with other coaches from other areas and we get examples of best practice from different places. So they need all the help they can get in places like that. But it was good to see the energy out there. And I guess what I'm trying to say is if there's anybody out there listening to this in the bush, in the New South Wales, Queensland bush, or wherever, Perth, Melbourne, whatever, if you want help, all you have to do is yell out. There's plenty of energy to help out. Like I said, last week I was there, got there on Tuesday. Sometimes I arrive at these places on a Monday and speak to the coaches on a Monday night. What I did instead here was arrive on the Tuesday, had a look at training, met with the coaches. Wednesday, met with some coaches. Thursday, went to training, did some work with the 11s and 12s, spoke to the coaches again, and then sent them a video recording of what I would present to them afterwards. And, other places I go there for the full week. So just reach out and let me know. When I did a post pertaining to this, Mark Harris said that the problems are coming from the top coach when he talks about the game dwindling in the bush. And he says that Abdo and Volandis are only interested in skimming off the top. Then they disappear and the next CEO has to try and fix the problems. The rules are ridiculous. If I was a dad with an 8 to 13-year-old, I would encourage him to play AFL. At least they are looking after the grassroots of their game. It's been going on forever. If you were to see the numbers or a graph of the decline in league and the increase in AFL, then you would agree. He continues, I played years ago for a country town in New South Wales of 800 people. We had a competitive team in 3 grades. Today, they have 1 team in the seconds. It's death to league, I'm afraid, like England and France. You can only blame the administrators. The kids want to play, the kids need to play, so who are they going to play for? That's correct, the code that wants them to play. Not the dumb shit league that can't see the future if they fell over it. This is Mark saying this, not me. Not much future, I'm afraid. Families can't afford the time and fuel to travel for their kids to compete, nor can adults these days. Comps are getting further apart all the time, while AFL clubs are forming and starting comps with way less travel, less injuries, more flowing, more entertaining football. The way the game and rules are structured in league is now boring. Watch a game on fast forward and see what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4 up the middle, 5 pass along the line, cutting out every second player, then kick. That is usually broken up with a penalty every second time. Then if a try is scored, we have to watch replay after replay. Give me a game of AFL to watch any day. So that was a really strong opinion there from Mark Harris on the post that I did vis-a-vis going to Warriolda last week. And then Ken Brown responded, spot on. All about shape, structure, A and B defender, offense, defense, blah, blah, blah. Shit we never heard of 20 years ago, says Ken Brown. Every club coach the same way, boring as batshit. Play what's in front of you. Also, the next coach who teaches juniors how to tackle around the legs and put a player down will be hailed a genius. R.I.P. Rugby League in the bush. I'm going to pull that comment apart a little bit, Ken. First of all, you comment about tackling around the legs. You know why people don't tackle around the legs anymore? Because the game's administrators don't reward you for tackling around the legs. So if you tackle somebody by the legs and pull them down, the referee says, well, if he's not calling it a hip drop these days, or she's not calling it a hip drop, they say release, release, release. So you don't get a reward. So that has brought our players further and further up the body when it comes to tackling. And now we have wrestling. Now we have grappling. Now we have chicken wings. Now we have torn pecs, torn shoulder, rotator cuffs, etc., etc. So that's the thing about the tackling around the legs. And in terms of the structure, Mark and Ken, let me tell you how I coach, as in this is how Lee Addison coaches. And I think if everybody listening to this can picture this in their head, then it's actually a really good way of coaching football and giving your players basically a skeleton and allowing them to put the meat on the bone. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a few examples. Okay. If you ever coach against me, I have 3 basic sets. I have an exit set. I have a set that can be used on exit in the middle of the field or in the opposite end, good ball. And I have a good ball set. And depending on the quality of my team, I might pull good ball down to my own half. It depends. Anyway, the exit sets. Around the ruck, scoots, or one pass left, one pass right, one pass left, one pass right, one pass left, one pass right. I think we all need a set like that, right? That's not rocket science. The middle sets, right? So the possible exit set or a set in the middle of the field are basically +1s. Okay, so we wrap across the field. Now, if my players decide that they can't get in a position to do a +1, but they still wrap across the field, as long as they are wrapping, they don't get any grief off me. And by wrapping, I don't mean 50 Cent type stuff. I mean wrapping across the field. But all my players get freedom in terms of what plays they put on there or how they do it. So the halves, in particular, can decide whatever they want to do. All I say to them is put shape around yourself. I say to my halves, I have an inside, a front man, a back man, and a potential jockey. Girls, using the girls' terms, obviously. And they can decide to do whatever they want to do there. And from there, they can probably do whatever they want to do. Okay. The only instructions I tend to give my players is say, right, for the first 10 minutes, I might want you to play wider. So play outside, play to edges, and then a bit later turn the ball back inside. That's the kind of guidance I give them. And then good ball, it's a scrum line or a point on the field shift, reset, and then go again. And they've got complete carte blanche about what they do. And I just give them a skeleton and they can put the meat on the bone.